Have you ever just woken up and then you were like, I want to go to space? So you fly up, max speed, straight ahead, and then height limit. I know that's definitely me, but I had hope that I still could. I know I can definitely get to space, I just need to find out how. I know that I can reach the cosmos. After doing some research, I found some mods that will actually allow this to happen. I will link the video in the description, but basically this video tells you how to turn Minecraft into a space exploration game, and then I was like, bro, yes. So I stacked my game with mods, and there I was, one step closer to reaching the cosmos. This challenge was first taken on by Luke TheNotable, and then later taken on by Legundo or Legundo. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Basically, the challenge goes like this. I survived 100 days of Minecraft hardcore in or of something. Or in my case, I survived 100 days in Minecraft hardcore in outer space. I hadn't seen anyone do it in outer space yet, so I thought, why not? I hope you enjoy this 100 days Minecraft challenge. Let's do this. Besides Steve looking through the fourth wall, nothing strange happened on the first day. Just like usual, kill this pig, kill that pig, extract the meat from this pig, and then befriend this pig, and then also extract its food. This guy thought he had the upper hand, but he was wrong. I very well knew that if I was gonna survive even the first night, I needed to ditch the wooden tools and get some stone. Found a nice big open area to start setting up camp. The great thing about this mod is that it doesn't just start you off with all the space stuff you need. You actually have to build up and craft those items, and then you can go to space. One of my strategies going into this was to always sleep early. The worst thing that could happen is to die before I even get to space, and one way to stop that is by sleeping really early, way before the mobs start spawning, and there'll never ever be a problem. The next day was just a mix of collecting stone and wood because I wanted to build a house pretty soon. I've always liked the look of stone brick, so I decided to make the floor or the foundation of the house out of stone brick. I decided to collect more food just to ensure I don't die of hunger. The worst thing would be to die of something stupid and easily fixable like hunger. I dedicated the next few days to just finishing the house. I would have liked to make it look a little bit nicer, but I had much more important things to do. I had to get to space. With the house nearing completion, I moved everything from outside to inside and added a fridge and a stove just to make it look a little bit nicer. I didn't want to renovate it too much because I knew that it was just temporary. My main goal was to build something like a moon base, so I kept everything simple. As for the house, the next day I wanted to get some mining done because I knew for a fact I was gonna need a lot of metal to build the rockets and whatever was associated with the whole space mod. After mining for a bit, I stumbled across some of the new ores like aluminum and copper. Seeing copper was a little bit strange because if you didn't know, it's one of the new ores coming to Minecraft. So when I stumbled across copper, I was like, wait, what? It almost looks like the new copper, it's just a little bit less saturated, so less color to it. And that's really all I did that day, just a lot of mining. The next day was literally just mining wood so I could power the furnaces to smelt the ores that I had collected. And at this point, I really just wanted to get to space. It was taking a little bit longer than I expected, but I didn't think it would be easy either. And if you look closely here, you can tell I'm debating with myself whether I should go make a sandwich or keep going. Of course, I made the sandwich. The next day I did some more mining so I could stop using wood as fuel because taking care of the environment is good. Also, coal is a lot more efficient than using wood, so yeah. And again, that's all I did for that day. I'm not making progress as quickly as I thought, but I will be surviving on the moon. This skeleton was kind of just chilling outside my house, so we kind of became bros. But I had to deal with him quickly because it was obvious he was going to backstab me before I turned around. I also finally figured out how to use the Journey Maps mod to its full potential. One of the features of it is that you can place a marker and name it like at home or something, and the marker stays there forever, and I finally figured out how to do it. This just meant that I could venture as far away from my base as I wanted without ever worrying to get lost. That is useful. With the Journey Maps mod now fully working, I decided to trek a little bit further away from my base to see if I could find anything useful, like a desert temple or a village. This little guy for some reason decided that he owns the place and thought he could spawn right next to me, so I had to put him in his place. Thanks to that little guy, I now had to sleep outside in the cold. Nice. Thankfully, I did find a desert temple though. Also, I almost stood on the pressure plate. That would have sucked. What did suck though was the loot. Nothing good except for a saddle and some diamond horse armor. Underwhelming. But I did find a horse, so that's good. We did have some complications getting home, but I was able to get us out of there and we got home safely. And then the day was over for that. At least I thought it was, until this guy gained the ability to walk through walls. So again, I had to put him in his place. The next morning, I built a nice stable for my horse with enough room for him to breathe. Please don't abuse animals. Okay, it was time to actually work on some space stuff because I'm taking way too long. I researched and found some of the recipes for some of this stuff, and it was also useful that this cave full of resources was literally right near my base. So I was finally making some real progress. Now, I need you to keep in mind how long I was mining for. Very long. Mining above lava, risking my life type of stuff. Okay, just keep that in mind because it's gonna be useful later because stuff happens. One of the recipes I learned to craft is the circuit fabricator, which is very important for me to actually build this rocket. And it looks cool, right? It has the whole circuit look to it. It looks like a good item. So good, in fact, that the lads outside felt they had to have a look. Unfortunately, this is a one-man household. So, lads, please. So, being completely oblivious of what is about to happen, I craft the things that I need to start crafting the wafer. You know, everything seems fine, everything's going well. I'm about to go to space. I'm hyped. So then I take this thing and I try to stick it in the... My game crashes. I know what you're thinking. It's just a crash, dude. Just restart it, bro. It's just a crash. That's the same thing I thought until I did restart it, only to find that everything related to every mod was wiped, gone, deleted. From the world anyway, but still on my PC. It meant I had to mine again, collect all those resources again. And the worst part is, all the ores that I had mined were still mined, meaning that I had to look somewhere else to find those same ores. I really wanted to stop. I did. That was hours and hours of work down the drain. But then I looked up at the sky. And I was reminded why I was doing what I was doing. I was reminded of the dream. So I had to keep going, even if it meant putting in more hours every time it crashes. I had to reach the cosmos. For the next few days, I focused a lot on farming and agriculture. I planted a lot of wheat, mostly because I knew I could make bread with that wheat so that I could have food once I did go to space. I also didn't want to leave the Earth without leaving some plants behind. You know, some greenery to say that I was here. Listen, honestly, I just want to get to the moon, okay? But this is necessary, okay? It was really dawning on me, the fact that next time I place another one of those space-related items, the game has a possibility to crash and I might just lose all progress. So until I could find a way to fix the issue, I decided to just keep it simple and progress the world, and once the problem was solved, I would be able to then continue and hopefully get to space. The farm was looking really good. Of course, this meant I would have a lot of food when I did eventually go to space, so I decided to get in a little bit more mining done, as if you didn't notice, I kind of lost everything like a second ago. And then I got jumped by this zombie and his skeleton friend, but I did of course put them both in their place. I was also getting pretty worried because I wasn't seeing any, and I mean any of the new ores. I was looking everywhere, mining for what a pretty long time. I also killed this creeper and this zombie by using the creeper's own powers against both of them, so that was cool. I finally found a place that I thought might actually have some of the new ores if the mod was still working. It looked promising, so I decided to go ahead and check it out. And lo and behold, there they were. The mod was still working. Thank goodness. This flag animation on my screen was very distracting, so I kind of just looked at it. Okay, that's enough. I'm not sure how useful diamonds are in space, but it's diamond. Then this madman tried to attack me and even threw in some 360s just for the fun of it. He put up a pretty good fight. I was sure I was gone. I was sure it was over there, but as I do, I put him in his place. I made it home safely and went straight to bed so I could wake up the next morning and lure the sheep and collect some wheat, and then once more try out the fabricator, which if you remember was the exact thing that crashed my game, but not before taking my trusty steed on a little journey. And thanks to the journey maps mod, I could see the village way before it was on my screen. You know, I don't even like potatoes or carrots, but I took them from the villagers anyway. Also, this journey maps mod is quality. Just thought I'd say that. Okay, now back to the circuit fabricator. I figured a way to maybe stop the game from crashing when I use it is by powering it with a coal generator. I figured maybe this might stop the crashing. I don't know why, I was just trying anything I could at this point. So I set everything up and got it ready to be hooked up, and everything seemed to be working. And then I plugged the power into the fabricator and the game didn't crash. I was hyped. I was so happy for this. Look at me. I then got attacked by a baby zombie who then called his entire family to attack me. But of course, one by one, I put them in their place. Just don't attack me. It's that simple. With the circuit fabricator now fully functional, I began construction on the quarry, which is a machine that it just mines automatically. Also, I almost died in this lava. That would have sucked. The quarry was now finished and ready to be deployed, and I thought maybe it was a good idea to place it in the desert because I can take sand and turn it into glass, and I wanted to build a lot of glass stuff in space. And the lines you're seeing on screen are basically indicating a chunk. I wanted to place the quarry so that it mined in one chunk and nothing bigger than that, because I felt like if I made it any bigger than one chunk, my game just might crash. I hooked it up to this chest, and once I finally got it to work by powering it with oil, it started building itself. Just look how cool this is. Look! It was kind of slow though, but thankfully there was a way to refine the oil to make it go a little bit faster, and it was stacking up. I can't believe all this stuff is working. I expected none of these mods to work. I didn't think we'd make it this far.
One eternity later.
It was almost finally time for launch day. I was collecting all the wheat so I could make the bread, crafting my space helmet so I could breathe in space. It's just so much hype in the air. I was filling all the oxygen tank with oxygen so I could, breathe, collecting some dirt so I could plant plants on the moon. Everything was going so well. And then it was time to launch.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I was so hyped that I forgot to check the pre-launch manual, and it turns out there was no parachute or any way of landing installed on the rocket. Mission failed. But of course I'm gonna do all that again so I can actually live on the moon. I mean, it only took like 65 Minecraft days, but hey, it's for the content. It actually turns out all I had to do was hold spacebar to slow myself down, so yeah, that was dumb. But hey, I made it to the moon and landed safely. And look at this place. First thing I wanted to do though was make sure there was some space where I could build, so I cleared out some of the land. Didn't take too long. Even the blocks have low gravity. I built a little space dome, space home, if you can call it that. I thought it looked pretty cool. And the idea was that I would then fill it with oxygen, but because I didn't bring wood to make a door, that wasn't gonna work at all. So I decided to just continue and place down the solar panels, so I would effectively have limitless energy. All I had to do was put old battery cartridges. Are they called battery cartridges when they're empty? I just put them in there and they'll just get filled up with power. So I was all sorted for electricity. I set a waypoint near my house and headed out to see if I could find any village. I'm pretty sure there should be a village on here. And after not too long, I did eventually find a village, and they were planting trees, so I assumed that maybe I could plant trees as well. But I couldn't. I came very unprepared on this moon trip, and it was actually exactly the same thing with the wheat. I couldn't plant that either, so I don't know how they managed to plant it, but whatever, that's just how game mechanics are sometimes. I still needed a door, so I just took some of the wood they were using in their garden so I could craft a door, and I did. And so it was time to fill that room with oxygen, right? Wrong. Turns out the machine doesn't want oxygen tanks, it needs oxygen canisters, and I had 0 of those just lying around. So again, I came very unprepared. Of course, there was still one more thing I could place that would hopefully work, and that was the quarry. You know, the auto mining machine? I place it down, I give it the engine, I put some gas in there, and for some reason while playing I forgot that you have to also fill it with water along with gas so it doesn't heat up, but it did work anyway. It would overheat eventually, but it was working. But yes, another problem. I forgot to bring pipes to connect it to a chest, so it just kind of started spewing out space dust everywhere. Yeah, so that whole machine was kind of a mess. The only thing that did work was this outside toilet that I built. You kind of have to jump in it and trap yourself to use it, but it worked. At this point it was very clear that I was going to die on the moon, so I wanted to leave something so anytime anyone else ever got there, they would say, oh, someone was here. So I took some of that space dust and I built this. Nice. You know what the most painful thing was? I couldn't even eat my bread. The good news was that my journey didn't even have to end there. I found out that there are dungeons deep underground on the moon. So if you look in some deep caves, there's a chance you might find one of these dungeons, and there's good loot. It didn't take too long, I eventually found one. They're pretty small. They're not like a normal generic dungeon. And there was a cool looking chest, but I needed a key to open it, and it was very clear that I would find that key by fighting the boss. And let me tell you, this boss is so strange. It starts off like a normal fight, you swing and it attacks back, and then suddenly it picks you up and starts screaming. It is the most uncomfortable sound to listen to. Why is that a thing? Why? I didn't even bring a shield with me, so there was no chance I was gonna beat that boss. But I didn't even die to that boss. I just died to some zombies in the next room. I think it's safe to say I might never go to space again. Ever. I was so unprepared. But in my eyes, this was a success. I did it. I eventually reached the cosmos. And even though it wasn't very successful, I did build structures on the moon. So if you look at the bigger picture, this was an overall mission successful. Lads, thank you so much for watching the video. This took a while, and I mean a while, to do. Remember to stay hopeful. I'll see you in the next video. Until then.